For many people, visiting Versailles Palace is a lifelong dream. But for older travellers, there's often one big concern that's hiding underneath that excitement. What if it's simply too much walking? As you can see on the screen right now, the crowds, the hard stone floors, and those endless gardens right there. The pressure to keep moving. And the truth is, most travel videos make the Palace of Versailles look like a casual afternoon stroll. It isn't. So today I want to show you what Versailles actually feels like for seniors and slower paced travellers, honestly, calmly and step by step. Because with the right plan, this can absolutely become one of the most beautiful experiences in France. I'm Andrew and welcome back to Easy Travel with Andrew. I personally research famous destinations with one goal, to find out whether they are truly enjoyable for older travellers and to give you some hints and tips for when you visit. And today, we're taking all the stress out of the Palace of Versailles. Part 1. The biggest mistake visitors make. Let me save you from the biggest mistake people make at the Palace of Versailles. Trying to see everything. Please don't do that. Versailles is absolutely enormous. The palace itself is manageable, but when you add in the full estate, the gardens, the fountains, Trianon palaces, and the walking paths, it can easily become exhausting if you approach it like a marathon and try and do it all. And honestly, you don't need to do it all for it to be an unforgettable experience. For most older travellers, the smartest strategy is simple. See the highlights comfortably. That means focus on the palace, the Hall of Mirrors, a gentle stroll through part of the gardens, a relaxing coffee break, and then stop in before exhaustion sets in. Because the goal here is not endurance, the goal is to enjoy it. Part 2. The best time to visit. Now here's something extremely important. Your timing matters enormously at Versailles. If possible, you want to avoid Tuesdays, weekends, and midday arrivals. Tuesdays are especially busy because Versailles is closed on Mondays, so crowds pile in on the next day. That's a little tip for you. And once the large tour groups arrive, movement inside the palace slows dramatically. For older travellers then, the best options are usually early in the morning or a late afternoon visit about 3:30 p.m. when many of the day trippers begin to leave. If you choose for the morning, aim for a 9 o'clock ticket and arrive around 30 to 45 minutes early for security. And if you prefer a slower start to the day, late afternoon will probably be your best bet. It'll feel calmer and less overwhelming. Either way, avoid the peak midday crowds will make a huge difference to your energy levels and allow you to explore the palace at a slower pace. Part 3. Arriving at Versailles. Now let's talk honestly about what arriving actually feels like. The first thing you'll notice is how large the entrance area is. There are crowds moving in every direction, security lines, tour groups, and a huge stone courtyard stretching towards the palace. Take your time. Here's an important detail that many visitors don't realise. There is a smoother pedestrian pathway running through the centre of the courtyard, so you don't need to struggle across all of the cobblestones. That alone makes arrival far easier for older travellers. And if you have reduced mobility, or you use a cane, a walker, a wheelchair, or perhaps you just struggle with long periods of standing, Versailles does offer priority access routes and assistance. As you can see on the screen here, there is a dedicated page on the website all about accessibility. Do not hesitate to speak with staff. The employees here are used to helping visitors with mobility limitations, and asking for assistance can save a tremendous amount of energy early on in the day. And if walking long distances does become difficult, Versailles also provides manual wheelchairs free of charge inside the palace for visitors who need extra support during their visit. Part 4. Inside the palace. Now the good news is this. You do not need to climb endless staircases to enjoy Versailles. Lifts are available throughout the main visited areas of the palace, and most of the interior is accessible for slower paced travellers. But I do want to be honest about something. Even with elevators, Versailles still involves a lot of walking. The palace route is long, the floors are hard stone, and fatigue will sneak up on you gradually. That's why one of the smartest things older travellers can do here is this. Sit down before you feel that you're getting exhausted. There are benches placed throughout parts of the palace and museum areas, so use them. Take a short break every 20 or 30 minutes if it's needed. Just pace yourself, because once your legs become truly tired at Versailles, recovery becomes much harder later in the day. Protecting your energy early will make the entire experience more enjoyable. Part 5. The Hall of Mirrors Strategy. Now here's one of the best crowd management tricks. Once you enter the palace, head towards the Hall of Mirrors as early as possible. Later in the day, this room becomes absolutely packed. But earlier on, you can actually slow down, look around, and enjoy the atmosphere without feeling trapped inside a moving crowd. And honestly, this room deserves to be experienced slowly. The chandeliers, the reflections, the enormous windows overlooking the gardens. It's one of those places that truly feels special when you're not rushing through it shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of people. So head to the Hall of Mirrors as early as possible. Part 6. The garden truth that nobody explains. Now, let's talk about the gardens, because this is where many older travellers accidentally exhaust themselves. The gardens at Versailles are beautiful, but they are also massive, and the distances are much larger than most visitors expect. The paths are often gravel covered, uneven in places, and very exposed during hot weather. Many people assume they'll casually walk all the way to the Trianon Palaces or the Queen's Hamlet after touring the main palace. And for older travellers, that will obviously become exhausting quite quickly. So here's my advice. Do not try to power through the gardens. Instead, use the little tourist train. Honestly, this may be one of the best comfort tips in the entire video. The train saves enormous amounts of walking and allows you to enjoy far more of the estate without draining your energy. And if walking long distances is difficult, electric golf carts are available to rent in parts of the gardens, as you can see on the screen here. Now, they are not very cheap, but for older travellers, they can completely transform the experience. So if you are able to spare a little bit of money to rent a golf cart, it will really aid your experience. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to cross the entire estate on foot, you'll be able to move comfortably at your own pace while enjoying the beauty of the gardens. And honestly, conserving your energy often means you will enjoy far more of the day. That's not cheating, that's travelling smart. And another small tip that can save a surprising amount of energy, download the official Versailles map on your phone before arriving, because the gardens and the estate are much larger than they first appear. Part 7. Restrooms, seating and practical comfort. Now let's talk about something that a lot of videos ignore, comfort and restrooms. Accessible restrooms are available throughout the estate, including near the palace and the garden areas, but distances between these facilities can feel surprisingly long. So my advice is simple, and I'm not going to labour the point. If you see a restroom and you think you might need it later on, just use it now. And the same goes for resting on benches. Versailles quickly pressures people into constantly moving, but you don't need to keep pace with tour groups. Stop, sit down, have a relax, slow down. There are cafes, seating areas and shaded spaces where you can pause and simply enjoy the atmosphere. And if you need a proper rest, the cafe areas near the gardens are excellent places to sit down, recover your energy and enjoy the atmosphere before continuing. And honestly, that slower pace is what will make the experience more memorable. Part 8. The smartest way to visit Versailles. Now, after researching this carefully, here's what I genuinely believe is the best strategy for older travellers. Do less, not more. A wonderful Versailles visit can simply be the Hall of Mirrors, the King's apartments, a gentle garden stroll, a coffee break, and heading back before you start to get really tired. That is a successful day. You don't need to conquer the entire estate, and you do not need endless stamina to enjoy one of the most famous places in the world. Travel changes as we get older, it becomes slower, but it does become more meaningful. And honestly, Versailles is far more enjoyable when experienced calmly rather than rushed. Well, that's a wrap for my third video, the Palace of Versailles. If this video helped you feel more comfortable about visiting, hit the like button and please subscribe to Easy Travel with Andrew. It really does help. And in the comments, again, as I always say, please give me some suggestions of maybe cities or any attractions you'd like me to cover in future videos. I really do appreciate you watching, and until next time, Safe travels, take it easy, and thank you, Andrew.